Part 54. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 531. Chapter 531 Old Friend. The two parties have a tacit understanding, and the lake tour lasts 3 hours. Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang both suspected that their masters were asleep in the middle of the lake. They were lucky enough to be able to swim in the lake for 3 hours without any assassins. The two boats returned to the shore one after another. Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang both they breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God, it was the shore that made them feel safer. It was too easy to get into trouble in the middle of the lake. Gu Zia was the most satisfied. After landing, Gu Ci set out for afternoon tea, washed the fruits, made tea, and took out some snacks and put them away. Knowing that Zhang Junlin must not have been full, he specially selected a few a snack he likes. Brother, are you hungry? Can I cook instant noodles for you? I'm not hungry. Zhang Junlin refused the instant noodles. He just wanted tea and snacks. The picnic on the shore was also very leisurely. Gu Zia ran to take pictures of birds, and Lu Ziwen also went with him. Ji Sun asked, Xiao Ci, after we came to travel, why did the third master and Ziyu act like conjoined twins and stay together wherever they go? Either they are a family of 3 together, or they are like father and son conjoined twins. Are they so inseparable? The third master doesn't have the character of a loving father either. He and his wife had time to cultivate their relationship after being killed. Gu Ci poured tea for them all. Neither Ji Sun nor Zhang Junlin believed this statement, but did not ask further questions. The afternoon was very leisurely. Zhang Junlin and Ji Sun were on vacation, and their phones were muted. If there was anything important, Zhang Qiang would come to notify them. Gu Ci took out the cards, and the 3 of them started playing fried golden flowers. Both Gu Ci and Zhang Junlin like to take magical days off, not to mention Ji Xian. The 3 of them are all players with high IQs. Playing golden flower is much more interesting. It requires not only skills, but also luck. Indispensable. Especially when the cards are about the same, it depends on who has the upper hand. 10 rounds were played, and Ji Sun lost. Ji Sun was a little doubtful. Are you teaming up to blow me up? You're not very good at playing cards. Zhang Junlin chuckled, and then lost the next game. He changed the order of the cards and lost. Then there is a lot of mystery in playing cards. If you lose one game, you can lose several games in a row. Zhang Junlin I got a bad hand in several rounds. Gu Ci sees through it without saying anything. Brother, this is the fate of being a fool. Lu Ziwen and Gu Zia also joined the battle after they came back. They played cards for 2 hours while having afternoon tea. After a short rest, they went to a nearby town to replenish supplies and continued to move forward. After Chen Liangzhu lost his job at the research institute, he visited Chen Liangdong several times. Chen Liangdong could not avoid seeing him and returned to his old home again. The institute had no ending. Chen Liangzhu had always been unwilling to accept it. In addition, he had lost his research. Chen Liangdong complained about the control of the institute, and the 2 brothers broke up on bad terms. Chen Liangdong was in a bad mood. He went to the university town snack street for a late-night snack alone. The guard wanted to follow him, but he persuaded him to leave. The snack street in the university town was very lively, mostly college students. Chen Liangdong found a powder shop and unexpectedly ran into Nyo. Drsi, she also came to eat noodles. The 2 had exchanges due to work. Dr. North met him and couldn't avoid him. The snack street was crowded at night, so the 2 shared a table. Why did Director Chen come here to have late-night snacks alone without a guard? Dr. North asked. I often come here for late-night snacks alone. This noodle shop was there when I was in college. It has been open for decades. I like this one, it's authentic. Dr. North also likes to come to this store, and she usually has her breakfast here. She lives a healthy and regular life and doesn't eat late-night snacks. This is a rare visit, and she bumps into Chen Liangdong. Chen Liangdong and North were obviously regular customers. The boss came to greet them personally, served them 2 bowls of beef fried rice noodles, and also presented 2 plates of side dishes. The two of them also interacted at work, but rarely chatted. Does Dr. North have a sister? Chen Liangdong has always been embarrassed to tell Dr. North. He always felt that she looked familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before, but the words were very abrupt when he said it. He endured it for many years and finally asked while chatting. Out. Dr. North was startled for a moment, then chuckled and said, "Why do you ask that?" Chen Liangdong chuckled to hide his embarrassment. "You are very similar to an old friend of mine. Good night." End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 532. Chapter 532. A Family of 3. Dr. North chuckled and said, "My outline is not very recognizable. Many people look like this. I have met women who look roughly similar to me." Chen Liangdong secretly thought, it's not his appearance. It is magnanimity. It is difficult to change a person's temperament, and it is also difficult to cultivate it. Chen Liangdong chuckled, stirred the noodles in the bowl, and added 2 spoonfuls of chili. Dr. North was slightly startled, but he still didn't like the spicy food. He always liked to add 2 spoons of chili when eating noodles. "Chenju can eat spicy food quite well?" Dr. North asked casually. "When I was young, I couldn't eat spicy food at all. The taste in Sitia was bland, and for a while, I was working. There was no spicy food there, so in order to behave like a local, I changed my taste," Chen Liangdong said. "I tried it at first. My lips are swollen when I eat spicy food." "That's quite dedicated." Dr. North chuckled and said, "Are you working in Sichuan?" "No, Chen Liangdong's work history is a secret, but so many years have passed, so it doesn't matter. It's a small town in North America. Trangstown." Chen Liangdong frowned. "How do you know?" Dr. North chuckled, "I grew up in North America, and I know the customs very well. As soon as you mention a place to eat spicy food, I know that Trangstown is rich in chili peppers, so you can enjoy spicy food. There are few places in North America that are like this. It's easy to guess. You work there, probably at the Virus Research Center on the outskirts of Trends, which is also a military base." "It happened many years ago." Chen Liangdong chuckled and said without mentioning the content of the task. "Bureau Chen is the second son of the Chen family. He has a deep foundation. You usually don't go abroad because of your identity. Why would you go to that place to work as an undercover agent? You are alone and without help. If you are exposed, your bones will definitely be buried there." Dr. North I also added 2 tablespoons of chili pepper and asked casually, "Is it convenient to talk about something that happened so long ago?" "It's not inconvenient at all," Chen Liangdong said. "My eldest brother and I took 2 paths when I was young. I didn't like working in an office. I have always been on the front line. I went to Trends because a task force sent back a very after finding valuable clues, everyone disappeared, and there was no news about the agent responsible for contact there. I was responsible for going undercover, searching and rescuing, and decrypting the other half of the information. Your position is not low, and your appearance is recorded on the side. Since the intelligence team was arrested at that time, it was easy for you to expose yourself in the past." Disguised, Chen Liangdong said, "Undercover agents usually don't show their true colors to others." Dr. North pretended to be calm. "I thought I would just remodel, use makeup skills, and change my hairstyle to hide my face. The technology of camouflage was already very advanced back then, and the appearance and voice could easily be changed." Dr. North lowered his head and smiled. "I like to watch some undercover movies. There is a very good spy movie in Russia. It tells the story of an agent who has been undercover for an enemy country for 10 years. In order to go undercover, he fell in love with a female officer of the enemy country. The relationship between the two is stable. They thought they were hypocritical, but they turned out to be real. They were constantly torn between love and mission. In the end, they chose to fly into the flames, executed the most dangerous order, and ruined their lives. I would not let my lover down either. I like this movie very much. It talks about big love and small love deeply and vividly depicts human nature. I once longed for such an exciting and adventurous life when Bureau Chen was undercover. Have you ever had such a story? Chen Liangdong said, no. Dr. North chuckled, I guess so. Have you ever lived in Tarangsy Town? Chen Liangdong asked, I heard you talk about Tarangsy Town, and it feels very familiar. I went there when I was a boy, Dr. North said with a chuckle. That was a story many years ago. Dr. North lost interest in the conversation, and before he could say goodbye, he saw Qin Wan coming in a hurry. Qin Wan didn't notice Director Chen at first, and said loudly, Mom, you came for supper, why didn't you call me? Dr. North's eyes flashed with panic, and he quickly calmed down. Qin Wan also noticed Chen Liangdong. Chen Liangdong, why are you having supper with my mother? Chen Liangdong was also surprised when he heard this title, and replied softly, I met him by chance. Oh, I was shocked, I thought you were dating boss lady. Here's a bowl of beef fried rice noodles. Qin Wan had a cheerful personality and pulled up a chair to sit down. Dr. North had to wait for her to have dinner together before going back. Are you mother and daughter? Chen Liangdong was surprised. Dr. North looked very young, lived a regular life, had a light diet, and was well maintained. He looked more like Qin Wan's sister. Yes, my biological son. Qin Wan had nothing to hide. Director Chen, do you think we look alike? Chen Liangdong looked at them. North had a gentle temperament and dignified eyebrows, more like a girl from the south of the Yangtze River. He had a strong bookish air about him. Qin Wan's appearance belonged to the Xiaobeiwa type, but his temperament was elegant and his eyes were clean. His wind, and fire were more like those from the north. The woman has a distinct and neat personality, but the mother and daughter are not very similar in appearance. Chen Liangdong knew Dr. North's past and couldn't help but wonder, is Qin Wan Chen Geng's daughter? The North American Chen family's genes are not very good, and they are basically short-lived. Every generation has heart disease. Qin Wan is very healthy, and he is very lucky. He had never heard Zhang Junlin tell Qin Wan about Qin Wan's life experience, so he could understand. If he reported it truthfully, Qin Wan's family background would be problematic and he would not be able to pass the political review, so he might not be able to wear this military uniform. The eyebrows are very similar, Chen Liangdong said. If you didn't tell me, you wouldn't be able to tell they look more like sisters. Our Director Chen praising my mother for being young. Chen Liangdong chuckled but didn't answer. He should have gotten up and left after a late night snack, but Qin Wan said, Bureau Chen, I want to ask you something. Can I join the National Security Bureau after I graduate from graduate school? Aren't you working in the GDAO? Chen Liangdong admired the people under Zhang Junlin, and Qin Wan was among them. Although he was difficult to discipline, he was very capable and very loyal to Zhang Junlin. My mother is in charge of many things in GDAO. I don't want to work under her to avoid suspicion. Qin Wan was honest. Can I resign? Dr. North said angrily. No, I'll go to another department. Qin Wan said with a smile, you are resigning. Aren't I missing a supporter? Chen Liangdong chuckled, you majored in national defense information. I welcome you to the National Security Bureau. It's just that you are showing off your talent. You are a command person. I would recommend you to go to the General Staff and General Assembly. The second suggestion is to go to the grassroots level of the military region to train and study. Your resume is already it's enough, but it requires experience. Then do I still need to study for a PhD? If you don't want to enter a scientific research unit, a master's degree is enough, Chen Liangdong said with a chuckle. You don't seem to like studying. If you really want to get a doctorate, have a better resume, and then get into a university after employment. There are targets every year. I understand, then I'll think about it. Zhang Junlin also suggested that she go to the grassroots level to exercise, but she was born in the extreme, and this road is not easy to follow, but there is also an advantage. After going to the grassroots level, she can work on the front line and exchange for real achievements. If she wants to be more comfortable in her future, she can go to Jidao, go to Kyoan, or go to the technical department, but her future is too long-term and too comfortable. She likes adventure and challenges. Has Xiao been in Kyoan all this time? Dr. North asked. Chen Liangdong said, no. He is still young. He is only 13 years old this year. I haven't taught him many things yet. When he turns 18, I will let him rotate in several departments. When Ziyu turned 18, he had not yet retired. Before his retirement, Ziyu's status should have been stable. Ziyu is so nice, someone takes so much trouble to pave the way for him. I wish I were your daughter, Qin Wan joked. I also like to lie flat. Dr. North. Chen Liangdong said with a smile, isn't Zhang Junlin's backer strong enough? Who can have too many backers? When Qin Wan's rice noodles came up, she also dug a few spoonfuls of chili peppers and ate them happily. Dr. North said awkwardly, Qin Wan is young, so rude. Don't be offended, Mr. Chen. Compared with Xiu, she's nothing. Chen Liangdong chuckled and poured Qin Wan a cup of barley tea. She looks quite similar to me when I was young. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 533. Chapter 533. Ji-sun and Zi meet two living treasures. Gu Si and Lu Ziwen's group went all the way north. The scenery on the road was beautiful. After going north to the Gobi Desert, the conditions became difficult. The scenery was not as beautiful as in the south. The grasslands, deserts, and snow-capped mountains here were natural and atmospheric, and the mountain roads were very dense. The visibility was also low at the 8th bend. Unfortunately, Ji-sun and Zhang Junlin's RV had a flat tire on the Gobi Desert. A few people stopped in the Gobi Desert to change tires. In addition to a puncture, the car's engine also had some problems. Zhang Qiang was a little worried. What should I do if I can't find a village in front of me or a store in the back? Gu Si and Gu Ziu both looked at Zhang Qiang in confusion. Zhang Qiang was confused. What did he say wrong? We have the world's top racing drivers here, Gu Ziu said. F1 racing drivers are different from ordinary racing drivers. Their understanding of cars is far beyond what ordinary people can match. Given Lu Ziwen a complete set of parts, he can assemble a car by himself, from the engine to every screw. It was clear that Gu Ziu pointed his thumb at Lu Ziwen, high-end repairman. The tone is quite proud. Lu Ziwen. The principles of the car are similar. Lu Ziwen is really good at repairing it. After changing the tires, he checked the engine and roughly knew what the problem was. He was afraid that something might go wrong with the car on the road. He had deduced what kind of problems might go wrong with the car. The parts and tools were all available, so it would be expensive to repair. It's just time. While he was repairing the car, everyone rested in place. Gu Ziu lay beside him with interest and watched him repair the car, and chirpily asked about the principle. Lu Ziwen knew that Gu Ziu was separated by a mountain, and he patiently explained that although Zhang Junlin didn't like Lu Ziwen, he could not deny one thing. He taught Gu Ziu to be really patient. Apart from deliberately making Guziu angry, Lu Ziwen almost he doesn't lose his temper and is a walking encyclopedia. No matter what Guziu is curious about, Lu Ziwen can patiently answer it. Along the way, Guziu has hundreds of thousands of questions for children. Apart from Lu Ziwen's knowledge reserve, no one can deal with him. Journey can also really increase the intimacy between people. Guziu and Lu Ziwen looked like a father and son with deep feelings. After Guziu satisfied his curiosity, he saw that there were really few cars on this road. He wanted to have fun. Uncle, I want to drive, is that okay? No, Zhang Junlin objected, you don't have a driver's license. Lu Ziwen also felt that it was not feasible. It was not possible without a driver's license. Guziu was disappointed. What a great racing opportunity. It's okay, brother, I'll take you to drive. Ji Xian jumped into the minefield of Zhang Junlin and Lu Ziwen, and took Guziu to test the car, thus forcibly commandeering the guard's car. Chang Junlin. Lu Ziwen. Gu Xi saw that Guziu was in great interest, so she had to tell Ji Sun to watch carefully and not to drive too hard. They could see the Gobi Desert at a glance, and the plains were all within their sight, so they were not worried. Lu Ziwen rolled up his sleeves and was repairing the car. He turned around and said to Zhang Junlin, take care of your people and don't teach my son bad things. Isn't Xiaoxian your kind of person? Lu Ziwen chuckled, okay, Mr. Zhang, when the journey is over, don't get involved with my people. You should clarify your seniority first. Zhang Junlin killed him instantly with one move. Lu Ziwen took a deep breath and fell silent. Gu Xi suppressed a smile, but looked at Guziu and Ji Xian. After Gu Xi met the car, he stepped on the accelerator and rushed onto the road. The road was straight and flat, with Gobi Desert on both sides. There was very little traffic. When Gu Xi encountered a dragster, he stepped on the accelerator as soon as he got on the road and drove for a kilometer. Ji Xian couldn't help but said, you'd better drive slower. Wow, it's cool. Guziu also opened the window. The wind in the Gobi Desert made his hair explode. Men are born to like cars and this kind of exciting and adventurous life. Guziu's car drove up. 150, still doesn't feel good enough. Ji Sun, calm down, can't exceed 120. Why, there are no cars on this road. Is it safe to drive casually? Overtaking by 20% is 6 points and 200 yuan, Ji Sun said. The owner of the car is Li Jiang, it's okay. Li Jiang's eyes darkened when he saw Guziu racing like this. It's over, the speed limit is 60, will you deduct 12 points from me? A guard patted him on the shoulder and said, it's okay. I have already notified the information center to delete this video. Li Jiang. Guziu drove back and forth, imitating other people's drifts on the road, and asked Lu Ziwen, Dad, what do you think of my skills? Ji Xian looked at Zhang Junlin's face and wondered, should he go down, or should he continue to accompany Ziu's car? Let's go down. He was not worried about Ziu being alone, just in case something happened. Don't go down, my brother is in trouble. I see you're looking for a fight. Lu Ziwen looked at his son's peacock and frowned slightly, stop and come down. Guziu spread his hands and said, I'll go around again. Zhang Junlin said expressionlessly, you two have no objection to my broken leg. Whatever, Lu Ziwen said cold-bloodedly, by the way, I also broke the legs of the passenger seat. Guziu hummed a little tune and opened the sunroof. Ji Sun saw a car coming in front and said softly, drive slowly, don't exceed 80. Don't worry, I know what's going on. Guziu has learned to drive a long time ago, and he is a very stable person, so there is basically no danger. Ji Sun knows that he can drive. How long has Chenfei been teaching you to drive? It's only been more than a year. I usually drive at the training ground. I don't have a driver's license, so I will definitely not be allowed on the road. Guzio said, I drive very well at the training ground. I am worthy of being my father's son. He is born with racer. All young men are inevitably narcissistic, especially a proud man like Guzio. Ji-sun poured cold water on you. Didn't you hate racing when you were a kid? It's normal for children's preferences to change. Guzio fell in love with racing. It was so exciting. I especially like racing now. Take it easy, Ji-sun said, your uncle is very angry. Guzio blinked, can't you just help me coax him? Ji-sun. Guzio went back and forth excitedly for 2 times, and his mood was very exciting. Ji-sun did not dare to let him continue, and Guzio did not force him. After enjoying himself, he went to the Gobi Desert. But he just went too far and didn't slow down when he came down. He drove around the camp at a speed of 80, picking up the dust all over the sky. Zhang Qiang thought, oh shit, and hurriedly tried to find an umbrella to help Zhang Junlin block the dust. They couldn't find them, so they just looked at the sky filled with lois and almost drowned them. For a moment, they couldn't even see who was who. Zhang Qiang felt that he had encountered the biggest crisis in his career. His master was still eating fruit when he was drowned by this burst of dust. Guzio was still unconscious and felt that he was very handsome. He even asked Ji-sun excitedly, brother, am I very handsome? Ji-sun was already numb and muttered to himself, you are dead. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 534. Chapter 534 Parents control naughty children. There is no doubt that Guzio was forced to stand. Lu Ziwen drew a very small circle and asked him to stand without moving a step. Li Zhang stood guard with a stick. If he moved a step or stepped into the circle, he would be beaten directly. Guzio stood obediently under the scorching sun for an hour, sweating profusely. Li Zhang said, young master, I can't help you. Guzio was not convinced, but instead of just trying to be cool, he was so cruel. He even circled him and made him stand. It was really cruel. Zhang Junlin and Gu Ci both changed their clothes. Not only did Zhang Junlin suffer, but Gu Ci was drinking tea. A cup of tea was completely ruined, and he almost ate a mouthful of dust. Ji Huan didn't know how to escape Zhang Junlin's punishment. If he and Guzio were really made to stand together, it would be a bit inappropriate and too shameless. The mastermind is Guzio after all. Ji-sun could only give him a look that said you were asking for more blessings. Zhang Junlin had not been so embarrassed for several years. When the dust rolled up, he was covered in dirt, even in his hair. After washing for half an hour, he was finally clean. Lu Ziwen was still repairing the car with his messy hair. Gu Ci they had also been washed once. Guzio wasted half of their water resources by being cool. No wonder Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin had bad faces. Ji-sun said, brother, third master, Zio has been standing for an hour and 20 minutes, that's about it. I'll be punished to stand for 2 hours, not even a minute less. If you feel bad, go and take his place. Lu Ziwen smiled but said, I don't mind, go ahead. Ji-sun shut up, he would have stopped talking if he had known. He peeled half a pear and gave it to Zhang Junlin. Zhang Junlin looked at him and said calmly, don't let me meet you in the future. I don't know how high the sky is. Gu Ci felt the same way, but at the same time she felt that her precious son was in such a pitiable condition that there were too many parents. Ji Xian took a sunscreen spray and sprayed it on Guzio's face, neck, and arms. The weather was hot and the child was wearing short-sleeved shorts. After being exposed to the scorching sun for an hour, his neck was red. Baby, this is the price of being cool. Ji Xian saw that his arms were also red from the sun, so he sprayed him with an extra layer. You have such fine skin and tender flesh, and you will peel off if you are exposed to the sun for another hour. Please help me, plead for mercy. Guzio put his hands on his hips, His clothes were soaked. I am the only one who is forced to stand. How can you behave so well? Don't bring trouble to Chiu. Ji-sun also sprayed sunscreen on his calves. Just pretend to be weak and act coquettishly. What a manly man. Why are you pretending to be weak or acting coquettishly? Gu Ziyu dismissed it. These words hit Ji-sun's point. He spread his hands and smiled like a white flower. Then you can continue to bask in the sun. Hey, Gu Ziyu stared at Ji-sun's ruthlessly leaving figure and glared at him angrily. Zhang Qiang thought to himself that the young master had offended the last person standing beside him. What a tragedy! Gu Ci brought a bottle of water over, and Lu Ziwen said, I'm standing there for punishment. No food or drink. Look at the temperature outside. He's going to be dehydrated after being exposed to the sun for 2 hours. What should he do if he gets sick from the sun? Gu Ci said calmly, wouldn't this affect your mood for playing? Lu Ziwen. Gu Ci unscrewed the water. Gu Ziyu drank half a bottle of water and poured the remaining half directly on his head. He felt like he was alive and could stand for another hour. Are you comfortable? Mom, are you angry too? No, Gu Ci said okay, if you want to drive, wait until you get your driver's license. Oh. Gu Ziyu has no experience in driving. The training ground is just like a playground. There is no dust or obstacles. It is naturally comfortable to drive. Who would have thought that everyone would eat dust? This is a lesson learned. Just punish him, and he accepted it. Wait for another 10 minutes, Mom will beg you for mercy. No need, Gu Ziyu drank water and was full of energy. It's okay, I can still stand, 2 hours is just 2 hours. Gu Ci, she has a very tough mouth. She was afraid that Gu Ziyu would become dehydrated due to the sun. When Zhang Junlin saw Gu Ci coming back, he said calmly, are you too indulgent of Ziyu? You just stand in separate stations, one of whom sprays sunscreen and the other delivers water. Is that ridiculous? Lu Ziwen nodded and agreed with Zhang Junlin again. What if he gets dehydrated from the sun? Gu Ci said, his hair and clothes are all wet. The punishment is to make him remember the lesson deeply, and it is not for him to enjoy. Zhang Junlin's attitude was quite severe. Gu Ci retorted, brother, why don't you punish Ji-sun? Ji-sun. Zayasai, I just gave a spray to my baby. I don't want to burn bridges with it. Zhang Junlin raised his eyebrows, what did Ji-sun do wrong? Ziyu wants to go racing, but we all don't agree. It was Ji-sun who took Ziyu there. Ji-sun should have stood with Ziyu. Gu Ci asked Ji-sun with a smile, right? Ji Xian looked up at the sky innocently, I'm a little wronged. Lu Ziwen finally repaired the car, you are not unfair at all. Brothers should share blessings and hardships, Gu Ci said. Ji-sun joked, when my son meets an adopted daughter, I can barely be considered a little dad, right? Everybody. One sentence to get the cool effect. After Ji Huan finished speaking, he found that no one was paying attention to him. Lu Ziwen went to take a shower and change clothes, and Zhang Qiang went to test whether the RV could start. Ji Huan asked Zhang Junlin, what did I say wrong? Zhang Junlin said calmly, that's not wrong. Gu Ci couldn't stand it anymore, Ziyu, do you still want to drink water? Want. Gu Ziyu was exposed to the sun for 2 hours and almost collapsed. Gu Ci helped him sit under the tent and applied medicine to him to prevent his skin from peeling. This state is really sunburned, quite serious. Gu Ci didn't blame Lu Ziwen. The child had to be taught a lesson. Are you still squeaking next time? Lu Ziwen asked, wiping his hair after taking a shower. Gu Ziyu said, I still want to. Chang Junlin said, then break your legs. Gu Ziyu. Good night. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 535. Chapter 535, Respect Your Own Personality. The young man was strong and healthy. Apart from being a little dehydrated after being exposed to the sun for 2 hours, he felt no discomfort. Gu Xi saw that he was jumping around and was able to provoke Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin. She stopped worrying about him. Several people stayed on the Gobi Desert for a few hours. Zhang Qiang felt that something was wrong and reported to Zhang Junlin that there were very few people in this area and there were not many vehicles. Many of them were pickup trucks, tourist buses, or various trucks. And further ahead is an industrial town. Due to serious population loss, there are few private cars and more industrial cars. When they stayed in the Gobi Desert, some private cars passed by. Each place has its own customs, and the cars will also have local characteristics and local preferences. Pickups are definitely the most common cars here. Zhang Qiang noticed that during their break, 4 vehicles passed by on the road. They were all off-road vehicles with excellent performance and clean bodies. If they were private cars, these 4 vehicles were exactly the same, with no difference in model and color. It is rare for a family to buy 4 identical cars, and it is also rare for like-minded friends to buy 4 identical cars. They must be cars for collective use. If they are renting cars for travel, the performance is not very similar. Although these cars it is suitable for terrains such as mountains and the Gobi, but the rent is expensive, so it is not a suitable choice, and the body is too clean. Zhang Qiang also noticed that they slowed down when they passed by. Although it was not obvious, he could still catch it. Zhang Qiang was always careful. As a guard, he was always observing the environment where Zhang Junlin was. Lu Ziwen had with a superpower in his body. Li Jiang's sensitivity to the environment is far inferior to Zhang Qiang's. Got it, Zhang Junlin said, there is an important town ahead, and we also need supplies. We will send 2 people there first. Yes. Zhang Qiang asked the 2 of them to go to the town first, wait for everyone to rest, and set off half an hour after the guards set off. Gu Zio said, is Uncle too vigilant? Lu Ziwen said calmly, we have been traveling so far, and we only have a few people with us. The journey has been uneventful, so we should be cautious. Gu Xi enjoyed this journey very much and knew that Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin had their own plans. She didn't say much. Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin were both reassuring men. She is not worried about what they are planning. As long as she enjoys the whole journey. The industrial town has slightly poor infrastructure. They arrived in the town in the evening and stayed at an inn in the town tonight. Gu Xi had booked the inn 2 days ago. Their route was relatively remote and there were not many tourists in the town. The guards had visited the town first. The convoy Zhang Qiang had seen on the road stayed in the hotel opposite them. The town was only a few roads and not big. The inns and hotels were all on the same street. After camping for so many days, sleeping in tents or RVs, all in the wilderness, Zhang Junlin was finally able to sleep comfortably in a hotel. Zhang Junlin was the happiest. The biggest pain in camping was not sleeping well at night. He felt that it was better than staying up late to work. Be tired. The inn is a 3-story wooden house. The boss and the proprietress are a young couple. They have been running the inn for several years. In addition to them, the inn has 2 employees, one is cleaning and the other is in charge of the kitchen. The staff is simple. After a few people checked in, Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang drove the RV to supply supplies. Conway checked all the inns. The landlady was very enthusiastic and knew that they were traveling by car. She also introduced Gu Xi to interesting attractions, among which Gu Xi liked it. He has always wanted to see the beautiful scenery of the Devil City. Ji Sun has a nice face and is well-mannered. He sat in the courtyard drinking tea and started chatting with the landlady. The boss and the landlady are both from the south. They are both financial dogs who graduated from 211. They both work in financial companies and earn a considerable income. The boss had some health problems in the past few years. Tired and diagnosed with early-stage stomach cancer, the two gave up their high-paying jobs and came to the north to open an inn. First, they enjoyed life, and second, they recuperated. The boss is now in good health, and they also like the slow pace here. All kinds of guests come from the north and south, and the inn there is wine and the guests have stories. They gradually like this kind of life. The inn has received good reviews on major apps. Young people like to book here and they live a leisurely life. Chatted about each other's experiences and the situation of staying at the inn. It was the off-season recently and there were not many reservations. Two couples originally wanted to make reservations today, but because Gu Ci wanted to book the room, the boss cancelled other people's reservations. How many inns are there in the town? Ji Xian asked. We are the only inn, but there are 4 hotels across the street, the proprietress said. There are 3 tourist attractions nearby. The next scenic spot is very close to the grassland and desert. The travel agency chose to stay there. It is very easy to get to the attractions. Conveniently, the travel agency arranges for the nearby scenic spots in the morning. We have a quick meal in the town at noon and then drive to the next scenic spot. Therefore, there are many hotels in our town but not many accommodations. The accommodation in the town is generally for self-driving tours. Guests. After Ji Sun talked about the situation in the town, he asked the landlady to introduce some special dishes. There are more beef and mutton in the north, which are greasy and are the specialty here. Ji Sun knew that Zhang Junlin had not eaten well these days. I politely asked the landlady, "Can I use your kitchen? My brother has a very finicky taste and he can't get used to the food cooked by others, so I'll cook it." "Okay, no problem," the landlady said cheerfully, "then you or do it together or do it alone. I'll just make our meal, and you can just take care of the arrangements." Ji Sun didn't waste much time. He stood up and explained to Li Jiang, "There are cameras upstairs and we will keep them in the room at night. Don't fall asleep." "Yes." He went to the kitchen after giving instructions. There were a lot of vegetables and meat, but very little seafood. There were 2 river fish. Ji Sun couldn't tell what kind of fish they were, but he could tell that Zhang Junlin didn't like them. He picked a few vegetables and started cooking Zhang Junlin's meal. After Gu Zio took a hot bath, he leaned against the door and said with a hint of mockery, "Brother, you are so virtuous. You can mock as you like." "No, don't get me wrong, I'm complimenting you." Gu Zio walked out looking fresh and fresh. "I'm going for a walk." "Don't go far." "No problem," Gu Zio whistled. The town was so big, and he couldn't walk anywhere. There was a freezer outside the canteen of the hotel opposite. Gu Zio looked at it quietly for a while, then ran over to open the freezer with a smile. Whistling to pick popsicles. He picked a dozen popsicles and put them in a small basket to check out at the counter. A man in black came out of the canteen and bumped into him with 2 bags of potato chips. He almost knocked all the popsicles out of Gu Zio's hand. "Knocked down. I'm sorry, kid." "It's okay." Gu Zio didn't care at all and paid the bill with his mobile phone. He tore open the package and walked back while humming a tune and carrying a bag of popsicles. When he arrived at the door of the inn, he saw Li Jiang and Zhang Qiang coming back in their RV. He raised his hand. "Li Jiang, Zhang Qiang, do you want to eat popsicles?" "Here, young master, we are unfamiliar with the place and there is no one around." "Don't wander around. You are not the 3rd master." Li Jiang was heartbroken when he saw him wandering alone on the street. "Just break into the town and walk around in 10 minutes. What danger can there be?" Zhang Qiang said, "Be careful when sailing the ship that lasts 10,000 years. Gu Zio's tone was disdainful and arrogant. "You are too cautious." Li Jiang frowned slightly and felt something was wrong. "Young master, you are acting too foolishly and sweetly, like a 13-year-old boy who doesn't know where the world is and who is rebellious and disobedient. But you don't have this kind of personality." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 536. Chapter 536 The Romantic Third Master. Gu Ziyu carried a popsicle to find Lu Ziwen, Gu Xi, Ji Xian, and Zhang Junlin. After walking around, everyone discovered that someone had put a listening device in his pocket. Gu Ziyu studied information, so this matter was particularly sensitive. When he left the inn, he saw a man in black in the canteen, deliberately going to buy popsicles. When the man bumped into him, Gu Ziyu noticed the monitor. Knowing that there is a listener, they will take advantage of it. The landlady made 4 dishes and 1 soup. Even though there were only 4 dishes on the table, 1 dish could serve 4 dishes. Gu Ziyu's favorite was grilled beef skewers. The beef was cut into cubes and grilled with colored peppers and mushrooms. It looked delicious. It was full of flavor and satisfying to eat. He ate so hard that a bunch of beef almost filled his stomach. Ji Huan cooked only light dishes for Zhang Junlin, and the mushroom soup was beautifully presented. Lu Ziwen despised him. He and Gu Ziyu only ate beef skewers to fill their stomachs, and they were not picky eaters at all. Lu Ziwen said, "Jiang, I have been on the road recently, and you have been taking turns to watch at night. It is very hard. Go to bed early tonight and don't watch at night." "Third Master, we have to take turns to work, so we won't be tired," Li Jiang said. "We had a calm journey along the way, nothing happened. We are all our own people in the inn, so there is no need to be so busy," Zhang Junlin said in a deep voice. "The drive is relatively long. If you sleep well at night, you will be energetic during the day." "Yes," Zhang Qiang and others responded. Gu Xi glanced at the monitor in Gu Ziyu's pocket, which was flashing. Gu Ziyu made an OK gesture. He could solve this gadget. Due to emergencies, Gu Xi was very cautious. She checked all the food carefully to avoid being tampered with. Especially knowing that the mushrooms were all wild mushrooms picked in the mountains, she also checked them all. The thing about eating poisonous mushrooms and being served in one pot was very important. If they show up, they will lose all face. The food is safe, and the boss and the landlady are no exception. They all have a pair of shrewd eyes. If there is something, they should have noticed it long ago. "Brother, let's go out to the night market after dinner." The landlady said there is a night market here. Gu Ziyu said that since the surveillance was launched, Gu Ziyu paid special attention to his title. "Okay," Ji Sun responded, "I'm full and it's time to go eat." Zhang Qiang respects his character very much. "Master, we are not familiar with the environment and terrain, and the people are crowded at night, so we should go out less at night." Zhang Junlin said calmly, "The people here are simple and there is nothing important. If Ziyu wants to go, we will accompany him." Gu Ziyu said with a smile on his face, "I also want to go shopping and see how the night markets in the north are different from those in the south." "Master, let me go to the night market first and stay for a while," Li Jiang said. "Go." Their entire conversation was very ordinary and not very deliberate. Li Jiang and Zhang Qiang were very conscientious in the conversation. They did not hear anything strange and did not alert others. Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin were both guessing that this group of people were in a small town and night was a good time to take action. The landlady said, "If you want to go to the night market, you should go early. The night market closes its stalls after 9 o'clock, so we all go to bed early at night." "We understand, thank you, boss lady." After dinner, they took a short rest and went to the night market. Gu Ziyu walked at the front, Gu Xi and Lu Ziwen walked behind him hand in hand, and Zhang Junlin and Ji Xian walked at the back. Ji Sun touched Zhang Junlin's arm with his elbow. "Are you going to the night market?" "Very few, when I was studying, I visited the night market near the school. Where are you? I go there often, Ji-sun said. When I first left Wujiazhu, I was very lonely and my language skills were terrible. The third master leave me to night markets and markets. Zhang Junlin raised his eyebrows. Go to night markets and markets to learn the language. No, he just wanted me to feel the fireworks of the world, Ji-sun said with a smile. From to the world, you have to feel the normal human life. He does know how to teach people. Zhang Junlin was a little surprised. If Ji Huan had come to him back then, how well could he have taught Ji Huan so well? Zhang Junlin wasn't sure. He didn't have that much time to spend on Ji-sun. The night market is crowded and very mixed. It sells mostly local products, clothes, socks, short videos, and some food stalls and fruit stalls. People from nearby villages also come here to buy what they need. 5 pairs of socks cost 10 yuan. Gu Ziu felt like he had just picked them up for free, so he bought 20 pairs in one go. Gu Si. Lu Ziwen took Gu Si to a small jewelry store and bought her a pink ribbon. Gu Si pondered and asked uncertainly, "What are you buying a ribbon for?" Lu Ziwen smiled, stood behind Gu Si, held her long hair in his hands, and ran his warm hands through her hair. Gu Si was startled, her heartbeat suddenly accelerated, and her cheeks to ears were red. Zhang Junlin and Ji-sun were not far away. Ji-sun smiled ambiguously and said, "The third master is quite good at it." Can flirt. Zhang Junlin had no expression on his face and did not express any opinions. Ji Xian secretly thought that his brother must think that all the men in the world are not worthy of his beautiful sister. Lu Ziwen stood behind Gu Si. In the crowded and chaotic night market, the two of them became a unique scenery, romantic and beautiful, with a 100% chance of turning heads. He helped Gu Si tie the ribbon, braided 2 strands of hair and the ribbon together, and quickly came up with a new look. Gu Si originally had long curly hair, which she wore most of the time, except when it was during surgery. She had a cold temperament. After Lu Ziwen tied the ribbon, her whole person looked gentle, with a classical beauty. Gu Si looked in the mirror and was very surprised. You can also braid your hair." Lu Ziwen hugged her waist and said in her ear, "I know a lot." Gu Si blushed and pushed him away with her elbow. Her brother followed behind her. Gu Si didn't dare to be too presumptuous, but she still couldn't help but say, "You haven't tied my hair before." "You had short hair back then," Lu Ziwen said with a chuckle. "When I was released from prison, I had short hair, but I managed to grow it a little longer, and then cut it off after I became pregnant." "Third master, you are so skillful with your hands. Zai looks so good dressed up like this." Ji-sun was not stingy with his praise at all. Gu Si was a beauty herself, beautiful. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 537. Chapter 537. Mr. Zhang and the Third Master cheating. Gu Ziu took a photo of this scene, enlarged it, blurred the background, added filters and a halo, and posted it to the family group. Everyone praised it. A talented man and a beautiful woman, a match made in heaven. Gu Si click save. Gu Ziu was good at taking photos, and the photos looked like posters. Gu Si particularly liked the atmosphere of this photo. Seeing that she liked it, Lu Ziwen bought a few more ribbons of different colors. Gu Ziu disliked the quality, it's so inferior. "The small porcelain sack is beautiful," Ji-sun said with a smile. Lu Ziwen raised his eyebrows and looked at him. "Why are you stealing my lines?" A few people went to the night market, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Zhang Junlin followed the whole process silently. He followed Ji-sun to pay for whatever he bought, using the ATM on the go. Ji Huan bought some local snacks and deliberately stuffed a jujube into Zhang Junlin's mouth when he wasn't paying attention. The strange taste filled his senses. Zhang Junlin almost cursed, but Ji Huan ran away in a hurry. Zhang Junlin neither vomited nor ate. Zhang Qiang almost stretched out his hand to make him vomit. This journey is definitely a challenge for his career. It was his fault that the master was attacked, even if it was a snack attack, it was his fault. Too difficult. The night market is lively, but the supplies are not rich. It can be said to be scarce. It only takes 20 minutes for a few people to walk around. Guzio likes the Winnie the Pooh as a prize at the shooting place, but the boss won't sell it, so he has to buy it. Shoot all the balloons to get the prize. In addition to the prize, there is also 1,000 yuan in cash. Ziu, look at the results of your training, Lu Ziwen said. Okay. It costs 10 yuan to shoot 30 bullets. There are 30 balloons on the entire wall. The balloons are not very big. If you want to get the prize, you have to hit the mark with every shot. The gun is a toy gun, which is different from a real gun. Gu Zii has a bad feeling about guns. He shot 10 balloons in 30 rounds. Boss, are you cheating? Toy guns are light, easy to deflect, and have poor aim. Children, you have to admit defeat if you are willing to bet, because you can't shoot yourself. The boss picked up the gun and fired a few shots, hitting 5 or 6 balloons. It's the problem with the gun. How can you aim such a gun? It's a human problem. Guzio was angry and asked reluctantly, sell me the bear for 100 yuan. That's not possible, this is a prize, the boss said cheerfully. It's been more than a year since my little bear, and no one has taken it away yet. Really? Lu Ziwen looked at Guzio's unhappy expression, chuckled and said, you change the balloon, I'll do it. Okay, the boss replaced the balloon with a new one and gave Lu Ziwen 30 rounds of bullets. Zhang Junlin, how about a comparison? Lu Ziwen loaded his gun and looked at Zhang Junlin with raised eyebrows. Zhang Junlin said calmly, okay. The boss gave Zhang Junlin another gun. Anyway, it contained 30 bullets and 30 balloons. Even if both of them were hit, Guzio clenched his fists and said, my prize depends entirely on you. Whoever fires the wrong shot will win. Those who have been laughed at all their lives, military strategists must fight for every inch of land, so don't make mistakes for the sake of face. Ji Sun chuckled and said, I suspect you are fanning the flames. Be confident and get rid of any doubts. Gu Ci chuckled and was happy to watch the show. It was rare that Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin both had the desire to win, so let them have a good competition. Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin looked at each other, and the atmosphere instantly ignited. Their desire to win and lose was aroused, and they felt a sense of fate. It was as if they were mortal enemies in the past and present lives, and no one had ever surrendered to the other. 15 bullets for each person, one shooting from the left and one shooting from the right. Game start. This kind of firearm changes bullets every 5 rounds. Lu Ziwen almost fired continuously at a very fast speed. Zhang Junlin was not to be outdone. The balloons were exploded in succession while the boss was stunned. The boss wailed in his heart, ah, his 1,000 yuan is gone. Can only pray that they fired the wrong shot. Are they perverts? This kind of gun can hit every target. Li Zhang asked, Zhang Qiang, let's take a bet, who do you think can win? Nonsense, of course it's my master. Li Zhang, okay. He has the wrong person. Wow, that's awesome, Guzio clapped his little palms, you guys are just cheating. Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 538. Chapter 538. Wasn't there any background in the kidnapping? Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin both hit every target, but Zhang Junlin rarely said, not bad. You're not bad either, Lu Ziwen chuckled. He usually doesn't shoot, but his marksmanship is very accurate. This kind of toy gun is more difficult to play than a real gun. The main reason is that it is too light and difficult to control, and there are also some problems with aiming. It's not easy to hit the target with perfect accuracy. The two of them seemed to be cheating. Ji-sun and Gu Si both clapped. Ji-huan said loudly, "Brother, you are so awesome. Your gun is so accurate. Why didn't I know?" Zhang Junlin chuckled, "You didn't even ask." He rarely fired, and his guards were always by his side, rarely alone. He had no room to express himself in Paris. The admiration and joy in Ji-sun's eyes pleased him. Zhang Junlin rarely feels like comparing himself to anyone. After all, in his eyes, he has always been the strongest. He lowered his voice and asked, "Whose gun is more accurate, Lu Ziwen or me?" "Of course it's," Ji Xian made a pun. Zhang Junlin lowered his head and chuckled, then rubbed his head, "Do you want to try it?" Ji Sun joked, "Forget it, I'm not interested in this kind of gun." Chang Junlin. Lu Ziwen pulled Gu Si over and asked the same question, "Do you want to play?" "I don't want to play anymore, I don't like shooting." Gu Si prefers to hold a scalpel with his hands, and does not hold a murder weapon unless necessary. The boss was on the verge of crying and wanted to kneel down in front of them. He didn't feel sorry for Little Bear, but he felt sorry for his 1,000 yuan in cash. This small business lost 1,000 yuan in one night, and it was all in vain for a week. Gu Zia was reasonable, he didn't want cash, he just wanted bears. The boss was overjoyed and gave them 30 rounds of bullets, so they could shoot again. Ji Huan was not interested in shooting either. The donated bullets were all fired by Gu Zia, who was unconvinced. He was a little better than the first time. He found some feeling and shot 16 balloons. Everyone was cheering, especially Ji Sun and Li Zhang. The applause was even louder than when Zhang Junlin hit all the shots just now. Li Zhang immediately said, "Young master, you are so awesome. I will definitely hit all the shots in the next round." Lu Ziwen has always felt that Li Zhang was very mean to Gu Ziu. "Are you sure?" Li Zhang said, "Third master, I am encouraging education." Everyone chuckled, but Gu Ziu didn't care. He was very happy when he hit half the target. The number of people in the night market gradually decreased. Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang also became a little nervous, paying special attention to the movements of people in the night market. The group of them deliberately went out to visit the night market in a high-profile manner. They did not cause any sensation, and no one deliberately came to trouble them. The monitor in Gu Ziu's pocket was still intact. The people came out at night to lure the snake out of its hole, but they didn't expect the person watching them to be so patient. They wandered around the night market for more than an hour, but there was no movement. A guard stayed at the inn to monitor the hotel opposite, but found nothing. Ji Huan and Zhang Junlin were a little far away from Gu Ziu. "Brother, do you see any way?" Zhang Junlin shook his head and said, "The one who came for Lu Ziwen has nothing to do with me." "Who asked the third master to pay attention to his seniority? If he has already figured out his seniority clearly, it doesn't matter." Ji Xian said jokingly, "If it really doesn't matter, would you let the third master pay attention to his seniority? If you have the ability, ask him to call you brother, and I will admit that we have a relationship." Ji Sun must admit that he cannot do this. Even Gu Si couldn't do it, let alone him. After returning from a peaceful visit to the night market, everyone went back to their rooms. Lu Ziwen and Gu Si lived on the east side of the second floor. Gu Ziu lived in a connected room, while Zhang Junlin and Ji Xian lived on the west side, separated by 4 rooms. Gu Ziu yawned, took off his coat, and hung it outside the window. The monitor was also hung outside the window. He pretended to be careless and dropped his coat to the first floor. Li Zhang picked it up and said, "Young master, you put it. What's the matter with your coat hanging outside the window?" "It smells like barbecue, I'll let it dry to get rid of the smell." "I'll bring it to you. If it falls, just hang it in the yard." "Okay." Li Zhang also knew that there was a monitor in his coat, so he hung it in the yard on purpose. It would be useless for the other party to monitor him, and it would not make anyone suspicious. Guzio didn't want the monitor to sleep with him all night, just in case. He was having nightmares and talking nonsense. The dinner was uneventful, and nothing happened at night. No one expected that something would happen during the night. Guzio noticed that he was not feeling well at night. He was extremely dizzy, felt nauseous, and had no strength at all. He sensed that something was wrong and wanted to go out to find Guzio. Unexpectedly, he saw a flash of black shadow as soon as he opened the door. However, when the black shadow flashed over, Guzio suddenly screamed, "Ah!" Half an hour later, everyone was in the courtyard of the inn, and there was a circle of mercenaries with live ammunition standing around them. There were about 16 people, both men and women. Lu Ziwen, Zhang Junlin, Ji Suan, and Gu Xi all had the same symptoms, as if they had been poisoned. The guards were all knocked down. It looks like food poisoning, but it doesn't look like it. The boss and his wife were unconscious and knew nothing about these things. Lu Ziwen saw that the mercenaries' physiques did not look like Asians. They were all over 1.9 meters tall and big, and their equipment models were not from China. Ji Sun asked curiously, "Brother, I'm very curious. We were very careful along the way. What kind of poison is this? Can it kill us all? When did you poison it?" Gu Xi checked the dinner very carefully to make sure there was no toxin at all. They went to the night market and never ate the same thing. No comment. Gu Xi asked calmly, "What do you want to do?" "Our boss would like to ask Mr. San to come. We work with money and understand the rules. If you all obey, we will not hurt your lives." The mercenary has a pair of green eyes with long eyelashes and looks very young. "What if we don't obey?" Guzio asked with a smile. "There is an old saying in China that if you don't eat the toast, you will be punished with the drink, so don't blame us for being rude." "You have learned the lesson," Guzio nodded. "We are powerless, and the guards have been drugged by you. We must be obedient. I didn't expect you to be involved in Chinese culture, so disrespectful." The mercenary stopped talking nonsense with Guzio and looked at Lu Ziwen. "Third master, I'm sorry." He raised the of his gun to knock Lu Ziwen unconscious. Lu Ziwen raised his voice and asked, "Wait. Third master, if you have anything to say to your employer, it's not too late for you to tell me." "I'll pay 3 times how much they pay," Lu Ziwen said slowly and in a very calm tone, without any consciousness of being a prisoner. 5 times is fine." The mercenary raised his eyebrows, not expecting Lu Ziwen to bargain. "Third master, we also have moral integrity." Guzio was confused. "Aren't you doing things with money? Whoever pays the highest price gets the knife. Isn't this the rule of mercenaries? Our national security has also cooperated with overseas mercenaries, and it is the same rule. Isn't it different for you?" Zhang Junlin sneered, "Unless they are not mercenaries." "Third master, Mr. Zhang, since you are a prisoner, don't talk so much. We have no intention of hurting your lives," the mercenary said in a cold tone. Ji Xian smiled jokingly. "Our third master and Mr. Zhang, the word obedient does not exist in the dictionary of life. Are you really mistaken? Didn't you memorize it before performing the mission?" The mercenaries laughed. "All your people have been drugged. This is the north. You have no connections and no support. What can you do?" Lu Ziwen chuckled, stood up slowly, and smiled like a monster. "It seems that you really didn't do anything behind the scenes." As soon as he finished speaking, a group of agents in black combat uniforms appeared in every corner of the inn like ghosts, tightening the circle in a well-trained manner and surrounding the courtyard. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and Nose. Chapter 539. Chapter 539 The filial son Guziu. The situation was reversed. Those who were kidnapped were the dozen mercenaries. Not one of them was left behind, including the sniper who was monitoring the situation in the hotel and the sniper on the rooftop. All of them were arrested and held in a small courtyard. In the middle of the night, Gu Ci made tea to refresh himself and interrogated him all night long. This group of mercenaries were also very tight-lipped. Zhang Junlin and Lu Ziwen did not make it too difficult for them. They said they were paid to do things. Judging from this attitude, they could not be mercenaries. Moreover, they did not kill innocent people indiscriminately, nor were they like Universal. Things happened, and Lu Ziwen was taken away with the minimum casualties as much as possible, and his style was still very decent. Lu Ziwen took the phone and said, "Here, call your commander." The mercenary leader would rather die than give in. If he bites himself to death, he will get paid to do things. The style of this group of people is different from that of the Universal group. They should not be in the same camp. Lu Ziwen is also very patient. Then how about calling your boss? Gu Ziu yawned with tears in his eyes. He hugged the pillar and looked like he was about to fall asleep. They are all foxes with thousands of years of history. What kind of fairy tale are you playing? You are not some mercenaries. All your cards are revealed. Find someone who can take it. Those who have their own ideas will speak up and make a quick decision. Everyone will go back to their respective homes. We have our own discipline, said the mercenary. Okay, let's leave it to the National Security Bureau for trial, Zhang Junlin said calmly. Ziu, call someone. Okay. Wait a minute. The mercenary gritted his teeth. This group of people were all handed over to the National Security Bureau, which caused quite a lot of trouble. Let's make a call. Why bother? It's a waste of 10 minutes, Ji Sun mocked. If you fight earlier, you can all go home. The mercenary leader went to make a phone call. Gu Ci called Zhang Junlin, and Lu Ziwen poured tea. After a while, he came over and gave Lu Ziwen his cell phone. Lu Ziwen walked aside to talk on the phone. Ji Huan looked like he wanted to chat with them. How long have you been lurking in the country? You are brave enough to follow us all the way to the north. Some of you must have been lurking in the country all year round. You have done well in cultural classes. You only had a few guards with you along the way. Why did so many people suddenly appear? Asked a female mercenary. They observed and monitored the whole way, and there were people who stayed behind to ensure that they had no reinforcements until they were sure to take action. They also put a monitoring device on Gu Ziu to ensure that everything was safe, but they didn't expect that he would be tricked. Li Zhang said, "This is a secret. It's just that you didn't understand it clearly. It is almost impossible to kidnap Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin at the same time in China. He and Zhang Qiang are with them. They can be said to be the strongest security team in the country. Even if they are drugged, they will not be able to take away Lu Ziwen. When their guards travel, they will prepare 2 sets of early warning plans." Zhang Qiang said, "Even if we are all poisoned and comatose today, and you take the third master away, you will never be able to go 5 kilometers, let alone take him out of the country. So, where did he come from? Go back to where, and where are you waiting? One day, the third master is alone abroad, and you kidnap him again." Zhang Qiang also provided them with a new idea, which made this group of people very angry. They themselves were special forces with few failures. They kidnapped and rescued hostages. They completed their tasks beautifully. They finally aimed for an opportunity and failed. The last time Ji Sun, Gu Ci, Rong Li, and Qin Wan were kidnapped together, it was purely an accident. Similar things cannot happen a second time. Is it your teammate who planned the global explosion? Ji Sun's eyes flashed with a fierce look. No, the female mercenary frowned. We are not from the same group, so don't get involved. We perform tasks and never hurt innocent people, let alone cause such a big commotion. Ji-sun smiled faintly and said, Third Master, do you want to live? Otherwise, the female agent raised her eyebrows, what's the use of dying? Guzio hugged the pillar and said with a smile, that's a bit difficult. Zhang Junlin frowned, the Research Institute's report has come out, and the National Security Bureau specially packed a copy for you. Lu Ziwen is just an ordinary person, nothing special. Don't you understand the words? Or are you still determined to kidnap him? If I remember correctly, he was very cooperative and even gave away a copy of his own bone marrow before entering the institute. We don't know, we just follow orders. Zhang Junlin and Ji Xian looked at each other and were not satisfied with the answer, but judging from their behavior, they couldn't tell anything. Lu Ziwen answered the phone and came back. Zhang Junlin asked, Who? Roosevelt, you should be familiar with him. How could it be him? Zhang Junlin frowned, their human body research project is no longer under his control. This military project makes money. It's normal for him to want to take it back after he was raped. They doubted the authenticity of the information given by the National Security Bureau. Lu Ziwen sat down. He had no grievances with this group of people, and they also obeyed orders. Lu Ziwen did not want to embarrass them, and Roosevelt also put forward attractive conditions, hoping that Lu Ziwen would cooperate with them. Lu Ziwen could not go with them, but they could not give up. This was an unsolvable problem. Lu Ziwen murmured to himself, it seems that there is no solution except my death. Gu Xi's heart skipped a beat and she held his hand, don't talk nonsense. Gu Xiu yawned, his voice lazily, I've died so many times, and this one is no different. Li Zhang. Young master, you are such a filial son. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's eyes fell on him. Gu Xiu, who was dozing off, realized the fiery gazes of a group of people and slowly raised one eyelid. Sure enough, he saw a group of people staring at him. Gu Xiu was silent for a few seconds, what did I just say? Everybody. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 540. Chapter 540, Talk less, use your brain more. Lu Ziwen was sitting on the balcony smoking, while Zhang Junlin and Ji Xian were still chatting with the mercenaries. They did not have any deep grudges, and they were given the antidote, so there was no need to enmity. Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang could just send people to watch them. Gu Xi sat next to him, do you want to go with them? Lu Ziwen has realized his fate and the curse is coming soon. He originally thought that there would be a conflict this time and he would die in the conflict, but he did not expect that the problem would be solved peacefully. Lu Ziwen, what conditions did Roosevelt propose that made you excited? They knew each other too well. Lu Ziwen handled things differently from the previous life and did not hide it from Gu Xi. He did put forward an exciting condition. Roosevelt has been doing human research. This project is very secret. He told me, there's a guy like me in his institute. Do you believe it? Gu Xi's heart skipped a beat. For Lu Ziwen, this was indeed an exciting condition. This is an old fox. I'm not sure how true his words are. Lu Ziwen chuckled and said, it is indeed risky to go there, but what if there really is such a person? If there really is such a person, what do you want to do? Gu Xi asked softly, is he your kind or your tribe? Or can he solve the curse? If he can't, does it matter who this person is? Is it worth your while? Risky. I'm curious if there is really anyone like me in this world. This is a superpower and a curse. He would rather live like a normal person, but after living for so many years, he can meet Gu Xi in every life. It is also a kind of happiness. Want to take risks for your curiosity? Gu Xi asked, then Xiu and I will go with you. Xiaosai, are you very nervous? Lu Ziwen locked hands with her, You were also very nervous before this trip. What's wrong? I'm just flustered. I always feel like something is going to happen to you. Goosey's eyes reddened sadly. When I saw you lying on the operating table, being studied, I thought of my patients. I seem to be saving them, but I am so scared that you have lost your ability to resist and are being slaughtered by others. I dare not move my eyes away, just for fear of stabbing your heart with a knife. If there is a scientist who is paranoid, I may lose you, so I am very scared. I still have nightmares at night, Lu Ziwen. I always feel that you will leave me and Ziyu. Lu Ziwen was startled. Is there really such a thing as telepathy in this world? Or, does Xiaosai have the ability to read minds? I will not leave you and Ziyu. Lu Ziwen kissed her forehead. Xiaosai, believe me, even if I leave for a short time, I will come back. Is it like the last life? Gu Si asked tentatively. After you left, we met again here. Yes, Lu Ziwen said, we will always meet again. But if I hadn't died, would we have met again? Gu Si asked. I live to be 80 years old. Should we meet again in 50 years and I live to be 100 years old? Gu Si smiled strangely. Are you telling me that if I die for my love with you, I can see you right away? No, Lu Ziwen interrupted her, but couldn't give an answer. Gu Si chuckled and said, don't be nervous, I'm just kidding. I don't want you to leave, so don't satisfy your curiosity, okay? I have been thinking, is the priest still alive? Lu Ziwen looked at the stars in the sky. If he is still alive, will he still have the same abilities as me? He is an immortal god, and I am his spokesperson. I am so painful. Living on earth, what about him? There is no god in this world, Gu Si said. In the long river of history, wars and blood have told us time and time again that people's destiny depends on themselves, not God. If God just stands aloof and looks at the suffering in the world indifferently, you're not worthy of being either. I can't explain what happened to you, but I believe there is no in this world. She even doubted whether Lu Ziwen's memory was a dream. I promise you, I won't go to Roosevelt, don't be afraid, Lu Ziwen said softly, and he hugged her. Xiao Si, don't be afraid, I will always be by your side to protect you. I don't want your protection, Gu Si hugged him, I just want you to protect yourself. Zhang Junlin chatted with the mercenaries about their recent whereabouts. They were in Sidia when the global explosion occurred. They also knew who was responsible for the universal explosion. They wanted to stop it from the beginning, but unfortunately they could not. Later, Lu Ziwen's every move was under their surveillance. Ji Sun secretly thought that Black Hawk's Sky Eye system still needed to be upgraded. They failed to catch the surveillance of this group of people because they were negligent. A stormy kidnapping was resolved with a gentle breeze. This group of agents was also surprised, but they did not dare to take it lightly. Zhang Junlin and the others should not have known anything, and they did not reveal a word. Ji Sun knew Lu Ziwen very well. When he saw him being alone, he knew that the third master needed to think. What did Roosevelt say? Zhang Junlin couldn't find any valuable information on them, so he asked Zhang Qiang and Li Zhang to monitor them. Ji Sun said, the third master actually considered going to go with them. What did Roosevelt say to him? It is very rare that the third master can be excited and willing to take risks. Zhang Junlin's position was very firm, no matter what, I will not let him leave the country. No matter what conditions Roosevelt proposed, no matter how tempted Lu Ziwen was, he could not let Lu Ziwen leave the country. Ji Sun knew that the positions of Zhang Junlin and Lu Ziwen were different, and he secretly thought in his heart that if the third master wants to leave the country, I'm afraid you really can't stop him. Gu Zio said, Uncle, my dad wants to go abroad, who can stop him? Zhang Junlin raised his eyebrows, and Gu Zio yawned, he can fly. Jiang. Young master, you still think too much about flying across the border. Third master doesn't have wings either. But the matter of Lu Ziwen's superpowers was well hidden from Gu Ziu and Zhang Junlin. As a result, Gu Ziu always felt that Lu Ziwen could go abroad in the blink of an eye without taking a plane. Gu Ziu, have you watched too much TV? Zhang Junlin said. I'm right, he can fly, I can prove it, Gu Ziu said. My mother and I were kidnapped. My mother jumped down from the 8th floor with me in her arms and was caught by him. The mood at that moment was still fresh in his memory. There is also a distance limit. If there was no limit, would his passport have so many stamps? Zhang Junlin said. He can fly in the blink of an eye. What plane does he take? Gu Ziu felt that his father might be confusing the situation. Is he deliberately pretending to be like a normal person? A trip abroad takes more than 10 hours by plane, and he can go there in the blink of an eye. Why should he suffer this? Zhang Junlin said lightly. Don't worship blindly, use your brain more. Gu Ziu. Ji Sun. What? End of this chapter.